I am back again in downtown Franklin, right in the town square here. I've learned some new information. Um, back before the Civil War, during slave times, this town square here in Franklin is, where a lot of the slave trading happened, and a lot of hangings and stuff like that too. It's happened right here at the square, and then you have the courthouse over here. But back in the slave times, they did a lot of auctions, and you had these auction houses, slave auction houses, and back then there were over 1,000 of them across the United States, where you would go there and literally, like how you go to an auction house and buy a car, you would go and buy your slaves, actual people, which is horrifying. But right now in 2023, there's only about 50 of these slave auction houses that are still standing and still here. And one of them is here in Franklin, in downtown Franklin, Tennessee. And what is it now? It is the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Parlor. This building right here is where the slave auction house of Franklin, Tennessee was. This is where you came to buy slaves. And I just find it insane that it's a pizza parlor, the Mellow Mushroom. And I doubt any of the people in there eating right now know that that's what that used to be. I've walked by it, 100 times and didn't know that that's what it was. And one of the gentlemen over at the Carlton plantation told me about it. And there it is. Whoa. Wow. Okay, so here we are at the beautiful entrance of this pizza parlor. We all know that it wasn't a pizza parlor. This was the slave auction house. Okay, so I've made my way into the slave auction house pizza parlor. And they got this little Volkswagen bus here turned into a table. But if you look here, this is the original brick to this building here at this pizza parlor. If these brick walls could talk, you know what they'd be saying. They'd be crying probably. What these walls have seen now, where people sit and eat pizza. That's just mind-boggling to me. But this is what they've done to the slave auction house here in Franklin, Tennessee. They've turned it into pizza parlor. Interesting. See, that's a whole nother thing, here about the history of Tennessee. It's not just the enslaved African American people, but it's also the Native American people. You see here, the Chickasaw Native Americans were completely removed from Tennessee and put in Oklahoma. So the Chickasaw Nation in Oklahoma, they weren't from Oklahoma. They were from Tennessee. And it's kind of crazy to see Andrew Jackson, called Sharp Knife. All that happened, right here on this spot. This rock dedicating, that spot. And the cool thing about Franklin is all the cannons. There's cannons everywhere. And you know me, I love cannons. Let's inspect the cannon. Yep, got a hole. Look, it says something there. 1892, 832 pounds. Wow. Inspect the cannon. There's one heck of a cannon. Do not climb on cannon. Okay. Obviously, so many people had climbed on cannon, they had to put sign, do not climb on cannon. So don't climb on cannon. Pretty interesting little spot right here in downtown Franklin. Right over here, this building right there, there was the first African American. He was actually still a slave, and he opened up a general store for both whites and blacks right there. And his family held on to that property until the 1960s before they sold it. Now it's a Mediterranean restaurant, and there's a company upstairs. That was literally right there. This is pretty awesome right here. Representing the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Coast Guard. I'm here in the cemetery here in Franklin, in the what was known as the Hard Bargain neighborhood of Franklin, and the cemetery is very special here because in 1884 you had a group of 44 freed slaves that put their money together to buy these 4 acres as a cemetery for black people, for the freed slaves. For over 300 years, all the slaves, they weren't able to have a proper burial when they were passed away, and were just buried, no tombstone, no nothing. So this was literally like one of the first graveyards for the freed slaves and African Americans in America. Is this graveyard right here. That's why it's so special. And you have people buried here from all the world wars that we've had. And this is a very special spot for African Americans, because they actually felt some dignity to be able to get a proper burial. And this hill right here is the spot here in Franklin where it happened. And you really see the 13th Amendment really worked, because not being able to lay your dead to rest in peace is just a horrifying thought. And for 300 years, the slaves weren't able to do that. And this is a very significant spot because here they finally were able to. So this means a lot in history. Although nobody's here as usual in Tennessee. Probably all the cars driving around have no idea how significant this spot right here actually is. This is the Macklemore house. This is one of the first houses for freed black slaves here in Franklin, Tennessee. And this was built in the late 1870s, early 1880s. And the guy Harvey Macklemore, who actually took the name of Macklemore, who was the judge here, who was his owner, And he lived in this house and his family for a really long time before they gave it up for the Historical Society. So now it's literally just in this neighborhood. There's a school across the street, fire department, and this house is just in this neighborhood right here. Like I said, nobody's here. And you can see there's the cellar in the basement. I don't know if we can go in. You see just a modest house here. I love the front porch. Pretty cool. What this really stands for here, the hard bargain neighborhood, and the freedom and liberty that Mr. Harvey McLemore got, being one of the first here to do this in this neighborhood. When you travel around Franklin, there's a lot of these beautiful homes, and you can see over here on this side, more modest, not so all the way brick, but more built out of wood. But this is the McLemore house here in the Hard Bargain neighborhood of Franklin, Tennessee. Okay, a gentleman that lived in the house right across the street here, I was just talking to him, and his great auntie lived in this house, and all his family, the family of the McLemores here, they all still live here. They live here. They live in the house behind. And he was telling me to go check out the Ty house, TY, around the corner. They have more information of the neighborhood. And really interesting to talk to the gentleman over there. He said if he had a little bit more time, he'd come over and talk to me more. But he said, yes, the family of the McLemores, they still live in this neighborhood, in these houses. These are their automobiles back here, and all these houses back here. These are still the family of the McLemores. So if you think about, in America, reparations and that type of stuff, it's like, hell yes. These families here, they deserve that. These are their ancestors that went through hell here in Tennessee through these plantations. And they're still here. They haven't gone nowhere. The families are still here. And I don't know why we haven't given reparations to this day. I think we're way late on it. But here it is. To hear it firsthand from the actual family members was really awesome. And to know that, they're still here. They're still living in the same neighborhood for almost 200 years. Same homes. They haven't changed. Okay, this neighborhood here, these are still the descendants of the McLemores. And pretty interesting neighborhood here. Now you see this house here. I don't even know if anybody lives in that one. That one's abandoned probably. Posted keep out, no trespassing. That'd be a good one to go do an abandoned adventure on. Okay, I'm here in what's known as Ty's house, and your name is?
Derek Solomon.
This is Derek Solomon and?
Rena Prince.
And Miss Rena here. And they're actually telling me the graveyard that I was at is right here. And they're actually telling me I was in the wrong spot when I was saying that this was the spot where the 44 people bought the 4 acres. And let's let Miss Rita tell a little bit better.
This is not the right cemetery. It's in the back, like over on Deer River Pike.
On the
Deer
other
River
side.
Road over to Kroger's.
And what's it called? That one?
Tucson Cemetery.
The Tucson Cemetery. And you were saying
Named after the Haitian general.
the Haitian general. And you were saying that the there's actually a divider.
It is divided, still divided.
Still divided by
white oak pine trees.
by white oak pine trees on
Yes.
purpose.
It was by design.
By design.
They got the road running.
Yeah.
Splitting white and black.
Yeah, now they begin to join the black in the back with the
Yeah.
white now.
Yeah,
They
now,
begin in
yeah.
the back, not up here in the back.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
it's integrated.
So your spot here, Ty's house, has been here as long as you've been alive. You've lived in this neighborhood.
I was born right there in 1949.
You were born in the house.
Yeah, right
In the house
But
right
I
here in
was born with
1949.
Dr. Johnson on Clement Avenue in a house.
Okay.
The house still there.
And the Ty's house that y'all run here, just gives historical information
Yeah.
on the neighborhood.
We also build new homes for low and moderate income families.
Oh, y'all build new
revitalize
homes.
neighborhoods and rehab the pre-existing homes and enrich our neighborhood, which is part of our mission. So all 2 square city blocks, we actually take care of what's the map.
Okay, now he said there are 4 churches, historical black churches, right here on this block, mostly Baptist, which you
Right here.
attend.
This is mostly Baptist church over here too.
And what's the
Yeah.
church that you attend?
Mine's Little Harbor Primitive Baptist Church.
And you've been
Green
going to that
Street.
church your whole life.
Yep, I
Okay.
have.
And you?
I'm actually part of the Empowerment Community Church, which we used to actually meet right here in the Hard Bargain, but we also have Church of God of Green, and then the Sanctified Church, Church of God the Sanctified. So, but all those are between the period of 18.
Now, does the church have anything to do with what you're doing here?
Well, it's actually funny you say that. So, my wife's grandfather, R.L. Denny Denson, was the pastor of First Missionary Baptist Church,
Yeah,
which
First
is
Baptist.
on Natchez. And then Scott Rowley was the pastor, senior pastor at Christ,
And that's your wife?
Christ Community Church. Yeah, my wife's grandfather.
Your wife's grandfather.
And then Pastor Scott Rowley, both are co-founders for Hard Bargain Association. So, yeah.
Wow, this is you right here.
It is.
Mr. Derek.
If you go around on Del Rio side where Kroger's at,
Yeah.
it's an entry right there. It's a plaque. It's a whole audio tour. You can get all the history right there and just sit
Okay,
there.
right on the other side. But if I walked right here,
It's on YouTube too as well. But if you see those trees, it's like this. It's in the shape of a box like that.
and is that where the trees are that actually split?
That is, and then right past those trees, that's Toussaint Cemetery. All that's Toussaint's, and then the rest of this is all my whole cemetery.
So, all the people buried on this side right here are white,
All white,
and
for the most part.
for the most part.
Yeah, and then all the people that was African American or minorities of color was all in the back. But then over the years, I want to say 1970s, 1980s, they finally integrated, and now both are, which is usually on the other side, on Del Rio side. But yeah, but initially, yes, it was at one point in time it was 100% white. Or yeah.
Okay, so if you go to hardbargain.org, you can get in contact with him and learn a lot about this. You can donate to this neighborhood. He's really helping to rebuild this neighborhood and the houses here. And he said a descendant of Mr. Harvey McLemore is still alive, and he can get me a little interview with her.
Miss Laverne Holland.
Okay, Miss Laverne Holland. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Awesome meeting you, man.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you, John.
Man, this tree here. This tree's probably been here probably as long as you have,
has.
Miss Rita.
It
I
has.
swear. I love trees. I'm gonna hug it. I just love trees. I love you, tree. I'm gonna hug you.
150 years.
You ever seen a white boy hug a tree? I'm back over here at the cemetery because of what they told me over there at the Thai house, that the cemetery was actually split by these, what they call white pines, these white pine trees. And it was done on purpose. So on this side, you would have only black people buried, and on the other side, only white people buried. And they only integrated that fairly recently. So when you walk around here, the split and divide of the trees is actually the split and divide of the races, and it was done on purpose. And when you look at some of these tombs, I mean these gravestones, this is a really old cemetery here, and you know, you can tell the difference between this side, you know, to that side, and really awful stain on American history of how segregated, you know, we did all this. And here's the evidence of it on this cold February 2nd day, 2023. There's a little bit of American history for our African Americans, and what they went through. Listening to Miss Rita talk, you know, there for a while, about the Hard Bargain neighborhood that's right around me. This is the Hard Bargain neighborhood. I was just talking to them right over there. No, over there is where they were. Pretty interesting history, but gloomy, and look to a bright future. I'm Petro. That was some Black history for Black History Month. Hey.
Yeah, I was gonna come check. If they started. We're down on the end down there.
Fancy meeting you out here. So where did it actually start?
Well, this is finished over here. They don't bury nobody over here unless they got somebody buried over here, got an empty grave over here. They'll bury you. But they really start from here now. Down on this end over here.
Man, some of these, look at that one there. That's just so huge and elaborate.
Yeah.
You know, most people don't get buried much anymore. They get cremated.
I know it. And making this graveyard hard too. They went up on the amount to bury is $3,000.
Just to be buried here.
Over in closing now. Because everybody getting cremated. And they losing money.
Oh, I'd imagine.
So it started black buried down on the end down there. My dad is down that way, buried. So now they taking black over to that other section over here.
But
now.
before it was all only on this side of the
That's
trees.
the only one. Yeah, on that side. On that side.
And your daddy's buried
here.
down there. And what's your last name again?
Prince, Rena Prince.
Prince.
I got all of my peoples over here. I brought 5 tombstones. My mama, not my mama, my daddy, my brother, my sister over here, my mama, my daddy over here, my uncle down there underneath that tree, and my grandmama didn't get a tombstone for her. And then, let me see, my auntie daughter, she buried down there too. Most of my whole family's over here.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mama down on the end, we're down on the end. But it started right down there in that middle.
So your family history, do you know what area your family were slaves on? Like what plantation? No?
I don't know, because my mama is a blood Cherokee Indian.
Oh, wow.
And she was caught enslaved, so my mama was really white. She
Wow.
wasn't black, she was a white woman.
With Cherokee Indian.
I don't know, that's all I know, Cherokee
Wow.
Indian. Her mama was.
Well, I read a thing where Andrew Jackson came through here before the Civil War and got all the Native Americans and shipped them to Oklahoma from this area.
Wow.
That's a really sad part of history.
At school threw away the history paper of slaves.
They threw it away.
She thought I was working at this school, and I got where slaves started from Virginia. That man got out of the army. Robert Lee Fairweather left the army and took over slaves in Virginia. And from Virginia, I don't know where he took them, but they was on a sailboat.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Well, thank you for...
So like you said, we didn't learn about slavery in school.
You didn't learn about it? No.
I didn't either. I went to Old Natural High School that Claiborne Hill used to be our school. That's Old Natural High.
Uh-huh.
That was our school. I was there in trade school. Yeah.
And what was your trade?
I was in 3rd grade.
Oh.
They had kindergarten section, and then they had high school section too. Yeah, my sister and my uncle over here, and my grandmama. Yep.
But me and you were right here, walking around. Thank you, Miss Rita, for your time. Thank you. Well, it was great to have Miss Rita come back here to the graveyard with me and give us a little bit more history. But I'm Petro, and that was a very interesting time here.